Hi everyone, my name is Wit. I'm from Brainstem, and today is still day 3 of 25 of prepping for the SAT. I need to I need to catch up a little bit, so I'm going on to linear functions, which is in the algebra domain, starting off with level 2 difficulty, the medium questions, and skipping the easy ones. I have my TI-89 calculator ready to go and handy. Because I haven't figured out Desmos yet, even though I've heard that's a very, very important skill to have. I think I know my TI-89 just well enough to avoid needing the solving function on Desmos yet. Perfect. So we got linear functions here. Start off with number 1. According to the model, the head width in millimeters of a worker bumblebee can be estimated by 0.6 to 4 times the body weight of a bee in grams. According to the model, what would be the head width in millimeters of a worker bumblebee if it has a body weight of 0.05 grams? Okay, I must have misunderstood this question. Let me read this first sentence again. According to the model, the head width in millimeters of a worker bee is estimated to be 0.06 to 4 times the body weight of a bee. Oh. Again, just reading. Estimated by adding 0.06 to 4 times the 4 times the body weight and be in grams. Okay, so the head width is equal to 4 times the body plus 0.6. But this is in millimeters, this is in grams. Cool. All right. That's a linear function. Don't know why that took me so long. We're going to do 4 times 0.5 times 0.6 to get the head width in millimeters. And 4 times 0.5 plus 0.6, we get 2.6 millimeters. Wonderful. XY plane, the graph of linear function contains these 2 points. Which equation defines the function? All right. 2 points gives us a slope, and one of the points, specifically the y-intercept, is very helpful for y equals mx plus b. So, I immediately know it's going to be C or D. The question is, what is the change in slope? In a run of 7, we go up 28, so we have a slope of 4. So the answer is C. So what was I using my brain right there? The slope formula to get the slope, and then y-intercept to get into y equals mx plus b form. I also know point slope form off the top of my head too, which could have been helpful. All right. Team workers have been moving cargo off a ship. The equation below models approximate tons. All right, make sure I understand this. Models the approximate number of tons that remain to be moved X hours after the team works. So it makes sense that has a negative slope. The graph of this equation in the xy plane is aligned. What's the best interpretation of the x-intercept? The x-intercept is when the y equals 0. And that is when y is equal to 0 when there's 0 tons left. Oh, and we need to actually figure it out. When y equals 0, 120 minus 25x. So 120 divided by 25 equals x. I'm just approximating that's roughly equal to a little bit less than 5. So the team we'll move it all off after x equals 0.48 hours. Graph function where the function is fx, cost is the y for a certain and x games. What's the best interpretation of the slope of this graph? Well, what is the slope of this graph? It takes a run of 2 to go up 50. So that's something with 25. So every additional game that you buy is $25 more. And you start off with just the base model, just the console, is $100. So, Boiling point of water is such, for every 550 feet above sea level, the boiling point is lowered by 1 degree Celsius, Fahrenheit, which of the following equations can be used to find the boiling point in F. So, y-intercept at 0 feet, we will boil at that. And then the boiling point should go down, lowered by 1. And so for that reason, the slope is negative. Cool. I didn't even really think about the over 550. I just thought about the y-intercept and how the slope should be negative. So, patterns. For all these linear function things, we're thinking about y-intercepts, we're thinking about slopes, we're thinking about x-intercepts, we're thinking about if it's positive or negative slope, again, stuff like that. That says slope. All right, have a function there. For the model, for the function f defined above was the value of plug-in 9 minus plug-in 1. All right. Think about the quickest way to do this, and the quickest way for me is to just write it out. 9 plus 4, 7 over 4, minus 1 plus 7 over 4. That's 16 over 4 minus 8 over 4 is equal to 4 minus 2. I get 2. Sure, there's a easy way to do that on like TI or Desmos, but going with it. Cool. Some of the values of a linear function, that's important. That means equivalent rise or run at every single point, a constant slope, are shown below. What's the value of f of 3? All right, let's figure out what the slope is first. It goes up 6 over the course of 2, so the slope equals 3. So that means if we go 1 more to the right, add 1 to this, it's like adding 3 to this. And over 1, up 3 from 4 is 7. All right, we got 2 points. What is the linear function? Okay, this we're going to use. There may be another method that I'm not thinking of, but I'm going to use point slope form. First, let's figure out the slope. Negative 5 minus 3 over 4 minus negative 2. That's negative 8 over 6, or what's another way of saying that? Negative 4 over 3. Now, I'm almost certain that immediately makes that the answer. But I'm just going to double check. Point slope form follows this here. Yeah, it definitely is C. So let's pick point A, y minus 3 equals negative 4 over 3 x minus negative 2. Y minus 3 equals negative 4 thirds minus 8 over 3, add 3 to both sides. That's adding 9/3 essentially. And so positive 1/3, negative 4th. I forgot x there. That equals y. Yep. Oh, see. I would have definitely skipped the rest of that, proving it on the test. Graph above shows the distance traveled d in feet by product on a conveyor belt m minutes after the product is placed on the belt, which is the following equation correctly demonstrate it. All right. Y-intercept is 0. And the slope is positive 2. Yeah. Here's the linear function. The total cost in dollars of product extra is given by the function above, where m is a constant, some random constant. If the total cost is 800, and that's after making 100 shirts, what is the total cost of 1,000 shirts? All right. First, we're going to figure out m, and then we're going to plug this in again. M should equal 300 equals m times 100. So 3 equals m. All right. So now, what is the cost of 1,000 shirts? If 3 times 1,000 plus 500, that should equal $3,500. Is the cost of 1,000 shirts. Cool. All right. What did I do there? I figured out the slope. Once I figured out the slope, I just rewrote that function, but with 1,000 plugged in. Linear models estimate the population from then to then. The model estimates the population was. It started off as 57,000, and then 224,000 in 2011, and X thousand in that year. The nearest whole value was X. Okay, let's first figure out the slope. This is from here to here, 20 years. In 20 years, it changed 224 minus 57. What is 224 minus 57? Divided by 20. 8.35. So population equals 8.35 x year plus 57. Now we're going to plug in the year. All right. This is 4 more. It's like the 24th year. 24 years after 1991. So that's where I got that. 8.35 times 24 plus 57. We get the population to be 257.4. Thousand. Oh, what's the whole nearest whole number? My bad. So that's 257. Cool. All right. Got another linear function. It tells us, but also that suggests it. We're going to use this to figure out the values. 18 equals m times 12 plus 144. So subtract 144 from both sides. 18 minus 144 divided by 12. Slope equals negative 21 over 2, or negative 10.5. So j of 10 equals negative 10.5 times 10 plus 144. J10 equals 39. Sweet. Nope, I'm going to just keep on going because we're more than halfway there. Table above gives the typical amount of energy per gram, expressed in both calories and kilojoules of the 3 macronutrients in food. If X calories is equivalent to X K kilojoules of the following, which best represents the relationship between X and K? All right. We're going to assume that this is linear because it's a conversion. And so you just use any of these. The ratio, so K has to equal K per X times X. So that's the unit. So we're doing kilojoule per calorie. And I just know off the top of my head that it's 4.184. That's from chemistry. But, so we just take a kilojoules and we divide it by calorie, 16.7, divide by 4.0. And according to this chart, we get something closer to, make sure you pick the right one, B. Here's a function, linear. Here's a function, linear. What's the value of 4 times f of 2 minus g of 2? So 4 times f of 2, which is 2 plus 7, minus g of 2, which is 7 times 2. Putting this all in my calculator in one step. 4 times parenthesis 2 plus 7, close parenthesis, minus 7 times 2. I get 22. 15. Equation above represents the speed y of Sheila's bicycle x seconds after she applies the brake at the end of the bike. If the equation is graphed on xy plane, was the following the best interpretation of the x-coordinate of the line's x-intercept? Let's figure out what the x-intercept is. 0 is equal to 18 minus 5x. So 18 over 5 equals x. 18 over 5 roughly equal to 3, or it is 3.6. So after 3.6 seconds, we should be done. Oh, it's just asked for interpretation. Didn't ask for the value. That's describing x. What is the x axis? It's time. So it's not number of feet. It's not speed. It's not number of feet. Number of seconds. So I'm using units to help me there. Scientists collect fallen acorns of each that each house a colony of ant species, whatever, analyzed. If the colony has X workers, the equation that between these bounds gives the prediction of the larvae in the colony. If one of those colonies has 58 worker ants, what's the following closest prediction? Cool. This is just a weird way of saying plug in 58. What's y? 0.67 times 58 plus 2.6. I get something closer to 2 seconds. Totally just wrote in my calculator wrong. Pause. Now I get 41. I get 41.46, pretty close to 41. Cool. It gave us a function, linear function. It told us the input, asked for the output. Plug and chug. 2 more questions. All right, we got a linear function where, like every linear function, m and b are constant. So if we move to the right 1 and we go up 2, rise over run, slope is equal to 2. Table shows the population of Greenleaf, Idaho from these years. If the relationship between population is linear, so it's a linear function, which of the following models the population with years after 2000. So this is year 0. So that's the y-intercept. That doesn't help us. All these have y-intercepts. All right. So the population's going down. All right, let's see. T is this is also like a unit thing. T is years after 2000. It's not years or like calendar year, right? So the year, for example, 2005 is T equals 5. So I don't need to take that 5 and subtract 2000 from it. And then be careful. Or let me be careful. It took 10 years for this population to go down by 16. So slope should equal 16 over 10, which is where the 1.6 comes from. Wait, is it good? One more. Nope. Actually, that was the last one. All right. I'll double check all of these. Make sure I didn't make any dumb mistakes. But thank y'all for tuning in.